What is going on, adventurers? Happy New Year. I can't believe it's 2019. That just doesn't even feel right saying it, but somehow it's 2019. So happy New Year. I sat down today and I realized, as I kind of realize almost the start of every new year, that I want to be making way more content than I'm already making. So I wanted to just sit down right now and kind of put together just a real quick video. This is kind of random, but just a video of some things I've learned through equipment that hopefully by me talking about it, I can prevent you from making the mistake. So today's video is just going to be things where I purchased a product mostly because I thought it was a good deal. I thought I was getting top level quality at a slightly better price, but turns out I was getting junk quality that I overpaid for. So let's just go through a couple of those items. So the first one, I feel like so many of you own a Ruger 1022, as I do. It's just the most popular 22 out there. It's such a fun rifle to shoot, and everybody needs mags for it. And I fell for buying these Butler Creek mags. Butler Creek makes some very good products. I have Butler Creek lens covers. I have some other Butler Creek stuff that it's all good. So when I saw this Butler Creek mag that looked just like the Ruger BX25 and BX15 mags, I was like, yeah, maybe they licensed that from Ruger. Maybe they just did a good enough copy that it'll work great. And it essentially works the exact same way. Feed lips on top, little rotary mag on top, and then spring that basically captures all the rest of the cartridges. It did not perform reliably in my rifle at all. Now, I know some people have said they've had good results with it, but this was just failure after failure. I could not get it to work. And I think most of the problem was these feed lips and that feed ramp. So these plastic feed lips, I think these are better. I think they had an earlier version that was just this same like clear polycarbonate, and it didn't have a separate piece for the feed lips. So I think they tried to fix it with this, but still it just did not. I would have bullets coming in at weird angles. It just did not feed reliably, and I would just have error after error after error. So this is definitely one of my #1 products to avoid. Do not buy this. If you have a 1022, you're going to want mags. It's just, it comes with the 10-round box mag, this guy, and this works incredibly reliably. I think Ruger actually did a lot of research decades ago to get this thing to work reliably. It's that weird rotary design, and notice the feed lips go up quite a bit higher on this guy, and they're all steel, versus this plastic, and they don't stick up very high. So I think Ruger went to a lot of work to get this to work well. So honestly, I would say pick up a bunch of these, or if you want a larger mag like this one, don't fall for this crap. Get the BX25, the Ruger branded mag. There may be other licensed versions of it, but not that I know of. And when I picked this up, I was even a little bit nervous about it, because can you hear that? Like, it's really rattly. It doesn't give you a lot of confidence, but it works great. So I would say avoid specifically Butler Creek, but that's the one I have. But if you're going to look at Ruger mags, avoid aftermarket mags. Aftermarket mags are great for a lot of guns. They're great for ARs. They're great for Glocks. But for Ruger, just buy these. So that's my first product to avoid, and lesson to learn is those Ruger mags. And another one that I learned recently, this looks like an Atlas tripod. It's not. It's a Chinese copy of it. That honestly, the fit and finish of this is very good. I was surprised at how good it looks. I don't even remember the name brand. I bought it on Amazon. It was one of those that you just look at it and the name is no company you've ever heard of. They only sell this one product. It's just one that you know is just some generic Chinese brand. And they did, from appearances, they did a very good job of copying the Atlas. The way the collar works to extend the legs, that actually works pretty good. There's a little bit of slop there, but not a ton. It's got the same foot system, so you can put the spike feet on it. You can put any type of feet on it that work directly with the Atlas feet. and vice versa. Fit and finish look good. There's a little bit of slop in this leg. Not much. The QD mount is actually pretty darn good. That was not bad at all. But the reason why I would say do not buy this, I cannot recommend this, is because of this lock. I've got it so tight I can't even unlock it right now. And I've got it so tight because I had a lot of trouble with it. So this lock, basically when it goes on your rifle and then you extend your legs down, this basically adjusts the tension on the joint in here. And so that's how you adjust your level, and that's how you adjust the swivel. And that's what I don't like. I don't like that those are all combined into one system by one giant thumb screw. There are better ways to do it, but if you're going to do it that way, it has to be made to just be extremely high quality, and the Atlas is. But this Chinese knockoff, everything else looks really nice, but I kept finding that this bipod, as I was shooting it, it would just rotate on me, and I was just constantly, almost every shot, having to reach down, adjust it, not because I was fine-tuning my shot, but because this was slipping around, moving out from under me, and it was just really frustrating. And so I ended up having to crank this thing so tight after I got my level that I can't even get it undone. And so while it looks great, and it's super tempting because the actual Atlas bipod is like, what is it, like $200? It's at least $150. It's a very expensive bipod. And so when you see something like this that looks just like it, it's so tempting, but I would say please don't do it. You'll probably regret it. I think there may be other copies, but I think I just don't see how they're going to overcome that issue without doing something significant. So the knockoff Atlas bipod is unfortunately a bit of trickery. It looks good, looks like the real thing, does not work like the real thing. Instead, if you're trying to stay on a budget, just go get a Harris, or basically the Harris patent expired. And so all these companies, Champion, True Glow, I think Cabela's even has their own OEM brand. There are so many that are based on a Harris bipod. These work great. They don't twist on you at all. You got to be careful moving the legs down when it's not on a rifle. You can pinch your finger really bad. But they fold out. Leg system. I like the ones that have the notches here so that you can adjust in these half-inch increments. And then it's got a spring right there on the end so that when it's all the way in, it's spring-loaded to extend the bipod. So there's a fair number of these Harris-style bipods. There's not one brand that's particularly better than another. I would just say go for what's a good deal, but look for that spring, those notches, and most importantly, make sure it's got the lock lever, because that's how you adjust your pivot. And I find this system actually to be a lot easier to control than this system, because being level makes a big difference, especially when you're taking it out way out there, 300, 400, 500, 600 yards. If your level is off, you're going to start noticing it. So being able to level the rifle and having a system like this that's just easy to grab, easy to manipulate, it works well. So lesson learned, don't buy this guy. If you're on a budget, just stick with a Harris style. Or if you want to buy the real Atlas, go for it. But honestly, it's too expensive for me. I cannot justify the real Atlas bipod. Coffee. Another one that is a lesson learned / do not buy with a little bit of a caveat is these cheap Walmart headlamps. Now I got this because it basically looks like a lot of other ones on the market. It's got basically flood and spot, and it's got a red light. And with a lot of stuff like this, especially private label stuff or anything at Walmart, a lot of this stuff is coming from the exact same factory as the name brand, just 3 years later, and they found a way basically to to keep the factory going by selling cheaper ones to Walmart in addition to selling the name brand ones. So I thought that's what this was. It is not. This is a piece of junk. I was counting on it. It crapped out on me. You're much better suited. If you're going to be into hunting, hiking, all this stuff, you need a headlamp. You might as well just get a good one that you like. So I've used Princeton Tech. I've gone through several Princeton Techs. What's the other brand? Oh my goodness, I can't remember. Oh, it's like the brand that started it all. Starts with an F. I can't even remember it. But anyway, Princeton Tech, I've liked, and I've used some of their lights. I lost it, actually. I was deer hunting. I dropped it in a cornfield, and my light was camo. And when you drop a camo light in a cornfield, just don't even bother looking. You're not going to find it. So I've been using this black diamond recently, and I like this because it's got a nice spot that actually projects very well. It's got a very soft flood, and it's got the red mode. It's got a lot of other features here, some auto dimming, stuff like that. You don't necessarily need all those features, but my point is get a name brand high quality headlamp. Do not get something like this, at least to trust and rely on. All that being said, I think one of the smartest and best moves I've seen recently, I was out on a hunting trip, and my buddy Kyle went by Walmart. Instead of getting this, $15 one that's supposed to look like one of these nice ones, they had a bin of just the cheapest, jankiest, nastiest looking headlamps that were $1, and he just grabbed like a whole handful of them. And he gave one to each of us. We all stashed them around. He said he's got a bunch stashed all over his place. And so the point of that is not to replace this, not to trust or rely on those other lights, but it's if you ever run out of batteries or if you ever forget this. For me, losing and forgetting these is the hardest part. But if you ever forget this or don't have it, having those little lights, those little $1, $2 flashlights that you don't expect to be good, but they'll get the job done in a pinch, that is actually a good way to go. So instead of buying this, buy 10 of those really crappy, horrible ones, stash them around, but then count on your main good light to actually get the job done. So that's kind of the lesson there with headlamps. And I know this is a weird, like, rambly video, but it's just all things that I've kind of learned from. I've seen gear fail, and hopefully if I can talk about this, you guys won't, where am I from? Y'all won't make the same mistake. But that being said, you don't need to always buy the top level gear. A lot of times the top level gear is designed for people using it professionally, day in, day out. It just cannot fail. A lot of times the next level down is a good way to go. Cheaping out can be dangerous, but this is all about navigating your way through that middle ground. So the next one, and this is probably something that y'all know, looking back, I wouldn't even touch a product like this. This is a Tasco, what is this? 20 to 60 by 60 millimeter spotting scope. You might as well just look down a paper towel tube because the optics on this are just total garbage. You're definitely better off just looking through your rifle scope than even lugging this to the range. I even put it on a tripod. My thought was, well, I don't need this for serious use, but for just 100 yards sight in when I'm using a red dot or a really low power optic, I want to just be able to zoom in and just I don't need high quality imaging. I just want to see my hits. Not even worth it. Bring your binoculars. Bring your camera. Do not get one of these. Now, that being said, I don't think you have to go buy like fancy German glass for your spotting scope. If you're going to be using it all the time, if you're going to be using it professionally, go for it. Good glass is always worth it in terms of the quality you get. The question really is, do you need that level of quality? No. So I would say Vortex is a good bet. What I use is Leupold. I use their, I think it's a 15 to 45. And that's where I sacrificed. I was like, I don't need 60x magnification because at that point you're just zooming in on bad glass. So my thought was, well, if I can pay a little bit more for less magnification, I'm going to get more out of the glass. And so I'm using one of the cheapest Leupolds out there, but it is night and day over something like this. So you can even look at the lens and just see like scratches on it. And I haven't even I didn't even do much with this, but it's just the coatings on here are just worthless. And even there's like something rattling in there. So if you see one of these, regardless of brand, it's just so cheap and such a deal. Chinese, super light, just steal of a deal spotting scope. Don't do it. Don't do it. Better to have your hunting binos at the range or bring your camera to the range than to do this. Save your, I'm trying to remember what this cost me. Probably, I don't know, $65, something like that. If it's under $100, it's just not going to be good. I think the entry level Leupold that I have was about $220, something like that, and that's probably the cheapest that I can in good faith actually recommend and be good. And if you're trying to save money on it, go for lower magnification. You're going to get better glass. If you think about magnification times the dollars, the lower power, you're going to get better value, definitely. A lot of times people tend to think they need so much magnification when really you don't. You just need enough to see the target. So beyond that, you just want better glass. So lesson learned on that one. And that's just don't even go there. Oh, here's the spotting scope I was actually talking about. So this is the, what is it? Leupold, and I don't think this is definitely not made in America. I think this is probably Chinese as well, or it may be. So Leupold, actually, people don't know this. Leupold does actually use some Chinese glass, but their assembly and their QC is domestic, and that actually makes a big difference. I don't even see a model number on here. I think they call it their like Ventana series or something, but it's a 15 to 45. It's a little bit more compact. It's shorter. It is heavier and chunkier. It does have that sunshade, which I like. But this is about the cheapest one I could actually, in good faith, recommend you guys to use. And this is not an endorsement of this product. This is not saying, hey, go buy this one. This is just saying those other cheap ones, I've learned my lesson. Don't go there. Please learn from my mistake. Similarly, if you do photo, video, anything like this, this is a super tempting offer. I think this tripod, the Vista Explorer, it's just made from architectural aluminum extrusions and really, really, really chintzy polycarbonate. I think it was like $24.99 on Amazon. Like, it was so cheap. It was so cheap. If you are actually getting into photo, video, anything like that, please don't fall for this. I tried using this. You can see one of the legs right there is bent. I don't know how I actually got away with using this as long as I did, but if you just look at, instead of spending $25 on a tripod, if you just can save just a tiny bit more and look at what $60 or $100 can get you, you're in a whole different world of tripods. And that world used to be $200, almost $300 to get what now you can get for probably $79.99. So I would say if you're into photo, video, and I think this was actually what I originally got for that spotting scope. So what an awesome pairing, right? That horrible scope with this horrible tripod. I would say save your money, avoid this one's the Vista Explorer, but there are others just like this. It's better to get something a little bit better than to waste your money on something like this just to have to buy something else down the road. So that was kind of, this isn't all shooting stuff. Most of it is, actually. Well, in a roundabout way. The spotting scope and the tripod kind of are, but everything else pretty much is shooting stuff. Coffee. This next product is something that I was an idiot for buying this. please, please don't buy this holster by Elenco. There may be other brands that make the same thing. What I liked about this, what did I have in this? An M&P Shield? M&P Compact, M&P 9 Compact. It actually fits my PPS as well. So it's tempting because it fits a lot of guns. And I think that's how they got placement on the shelf, is you don't have to solve the problem of having 10 different models to fit 10 different guns. This will fit just about everything. But that also means that it doesn't fit anything well. This holster, I actually had my gun fall the hell out of this holster. I was an idiot for buying this. I saw that you could run it through a belt loop. It comes with a clip, but just it wiggles around. It does not fit the form of the gun. I bought this. I carried it for 1 week in my gun. I was sitting at home. My gun fell out. And at that point, I just said, no, I am not ever using this again. I can't believe I bought this. So whether you see this exact holster, it almost looks like a cheap leather wallet. This Elenco holster, or one that just looks like this, that has no, and I don't believe that you necessarily need a retention strap on a holster, but when there's nothing like form-fitting about this at all, this is junk. Even something like this sticky holster, there's nothing that really like adheres to the shape or mechanically holds it in, but because it's rough on the inside and the whole thing is soft enough to mold to the shape of the gun, it works well. And also this is in the waistband or in a pocket, whereas this tempts you to put it on the outside of a belt, and it is just not a good idea. So please do not buy this holster. Learn from my mistake. The other one, so most of this to this point has all been gun stuff. The other one that was kind of a lesson learned in, wow, don't buy this, or be extremely careful, or at least have a backup plan, was actually more on the archery side of things. I know a lot of people like TrueFire releases. The strap is okay. The release head, not bad. But the connection system is what ruined a hunt for me. So I was walking around in the field, and this is basically just a piece of all thread that comes out. And, you know, I had it on my wrist, was walking around, and of course the release was just dangling. And as I walked miles and miles through the woods, this just gradually got looser and looser and looser. Then I sat down on my stand, was just checking everything, and the release head was just gone. I had walked miles. I had no idea where it was. So I would say do not buy releases that are just one piece of all thread with nothing that actually captures it. There are some that have a lock washer, like a nylon lock washer. That could have totally saved this release and saved my hunt. Instead, now I use the TrueGlow Nitrous series. They have one that's got like a rigid connector, and then they have one that's just a nylon strap. And just in the attitude of keep it simple, stupid, I like the nylon strap. I find that I don't have a rigid bar right here, so it's a little more comfortable without it, especially one like this. And it actually helps me. It's a little bit more forgiving in reducing torque as I kind of set the anchor on my cheek. So I like the nylon strap, but the moral of this story is if your connection system looks like that and can unscrew itself, that's setting you up for failure. It's setting you up for losing your release. And this burned one of my hunts. So if you have something like this, it's not necessarily don't buy, but it's be extremely careful with it, or replace some parts to put a nylon lock washer on there or something like that. So I know this video is super random, and it's just kind of me sitting here just yammering on about just crap not to buy. So hopefully you learned something from this video, whether it was the really bad tripod, the spotting scope, the archery release, or this just horrible excuse for a holster. Hopefully you can learn some of these lessons from me and not have to make the same mistake. Until next time, stay safe, be free, and never stop seeking adventure.